Welcome to GameBreakers. My name is Thomas. I am here with Allison, David, and Diamond, and we are playing Dungeons & Dragons, 5th edition. This is a Bard's Tale. When last we left our intrepid heroes, let's see, you all had just met up with your old friend Unveleh, a Darkling assassin, for whom you had a token from a baronetess across the river in the Sea Lands. It turns out that this whole area is under attack by Fomorians, and when you reached Unveleh's rickety old half a tower, he seems to have an inkling of why. Using the last of the time remaining on your fly spell, Stan and ClickClack bolted out toward the mouth of the road where the battle was raging between giants and treants. And I think that's exactly where we cut, right? So Struana is just about to sit down with Unveleh. You had some little chats about what had gone forth. But as we start, and Unveleh says, begins with, what is it exactly that brought you here?
And we gave him the giant boob holder, and then he, right?
Yes, you did deliver the token of affection, which he had placed upon a pile of similar tokens from probably the same person. I mean, beyond the actual delivery of the item, you shouldn't really be in this entire realm. You don't seem to have come here on purpose. Certainly not for the purpose we spoke of once.
Well, and my compatriots here are going to fight have left and are going to fight giants. Yes.
Yes. This is as they were have taken off out the way, and you begin this conversation. It's going to take them about 2 or 3 minutes to get to the action, so you will still have your earring. You'll still be able to communicate with them pretty easily for this first exchange.
Okay. Well, first, forgive me because I'm feeling kind of ill, so my ability to make words is not as good as it. It's worse than it typically is, I guess. So, for Unveleh, it's explaining that we, the I guess, vision that I had, where I had to choose, and then we came to the Feywild, and then we found ourselves in the Feywild, and telling him that story, and I don't know if I need to roll for it, but watching him for any reactions to anything I'm saying.
I would give you an insight check to read.
Weird, I feel I haven't gotten my dice out yet.
Oh my god, the noise.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Next to your mic.
I'm sorry. 23.
All right. He is genuinely shocked by the news. And it seems like the idea that the Dark Crow has anywhere near that much power.
Do you think that it would be someone other than the Crow?
I can't imagine why anything would claim to be the Crow. Or even have the ability to. Now, sadly, I can't use my cool mic, but remember, he does speak mostly in a whisper, like just above a whisper. Right? But it doesn't make for good sound quality without a better mic than I can use today. So life's hard, then you die. Well, you've come at an inauspicious moment.
Apparently.
And it does not bode well. I'm not sure how my intended outcome will affect you and your friends.
Tell me more about what's happening here.
Once upon a time, there was a king who has been all but forgotten. King Sudaran ruled over multiple courts of fairies before the giants corrupted themselves and became Fomorians. He had among them allies. Now the king's fate is lost to history. One day he set down his scepter and set to wander, probably in grief over a lost lover, as the story goes. But his fate is unknown. Yet, bonds sworn to and by him with and within the Feywild remain. I served as the first amongst his poisoners for a very short time. One of the oaths sworn by the king was that no resource of his would ever be used against his allies. He then begins a very long, boring litany of kind of like biblical begats, and then was sworn by this person this very minor thing, and then this minor thing, and it's basically his like litany of service, like lords that he passed through the like and was bound to in service, all the way to now.
I don't know what I need to do to roll to, like, make sure I'm very attentive and hear any names I recognize.
It would be a history check, but he served many powerful archfey and nobles. Like, they show up in fairy tales.
Let me clarify. I mean, recognize in association with anything that we've been doing or that is important to what we're doing. Just
okay. No particular points of crossover. No data point intersection. He does mention one oath that is because of his specific vicious culling of several bands of Fomorians throughout one siege. He was by name forbidden from engaging Fomorians without a formal declaration of war.
Oh. Okay, then. Well, that explains what's happening there. Okay.
Yeah. Deploying Unveleh is a declaration of war. For the Fomorians. Like, if he shows up, it is war. So he, by this point, like, he's gone through this litany, and Stan and ClickClack, you two are approaching this place. So you are approaching this. You are able to do a sweep around the battlefield and can tell that there are other giants incoming. And on the terraced, sort of upward slopes of the bowl, you see others climbing down. I mean, where these 20, 30-foot steps would be a major impediment for most creatures, it's pools of water with crusted sediment and roots. It's more like stepping stones for large steps. They're sort of belly climbing down. It's not easy going for them. I mean, it's soft and gives way easily under their weight. And as you're on your sweep incoming, you see several of them fall during that time. And there's also constantly on the way down being assailed by assassin vines, and several of the marsh pools have crocodilian life forms and various swarms of things. Shimmerlings are everywhere, just messing with them. They're taking casualties on the way in, but there is no shortage of giants climbing down into the battle. At the center of it, at the very base of the Tower Road, as it wends its way in, where it meets the ground, there is. It's difficult to describe what is going on in the dome of at the center of this, but I'm going to try. At the very center of this bubble, there is a tree that seems to be moving in fast forward. Someone has quintupled many times normal speed moving for a tree. It is zipping hither, thither, and yon, planting seeds. And in this bubble, you see those seeds growing quickly. Clearly, there is some sort of time shift inside this space, and around it is a ring of treants and trees. And as they're fighting, you see one of them run back and go into this space and begin moving at that ridiculous speed. You see it take a moment and rest for what looks like a split second to you, and it comes out with another tree to bolster the line and rejoins the trees that were out there. They've set up a defensive perimeter and are holding it, but they are deeply outnumbered, and you can see that there are many fallen trees. Many fallen trees. They've been doing this for a while, and it would be difficult in the chaos and the fog and without a practiced eye to tell which ones are trees that they've animated out of this bunch growing in the middle, or fully mature treants, which are an ancient tragedy when they fall down. So hard to tell amongst the dead wood, but it's currently more or less a stalemate. The giants are grinding through, but it's costing them. What do you guys do? Where do you attempt to land?
We're flying.
You were using the last of Struana's fly spell.
You're going to need to land shortly.
Right, and if I remember right, you said something about still having your hand glider loaded.
I mean, I have it in my pack. I would have to try to assemble it midair.
That wouldn't be the first time.
No, but it's not ideal. I know you described him last time, but that was a week ago. What can I get a description of what these what one of these giants looks like?
Each of them are uniquely horrible. They're all deformed and twisted and in different ways. Some have lines of eyes in strange directions. They'll have another mouth on their shoulder. They're uniquely horrible, but each and every one of them is just completely deformed, twisted. And
Are they still basically humanoid?
they are 2 arms,
Like-
2 legs, a head with sensory organs. Yeah, that basic.
Every
Concept of
variation
shape.
on that theme.
Yeah, they don't
Awesome.
vary into like tentacles and pinchers and really out there stuff. They do stay basically like a giant. You know, they're still
Right.
tall. They take up a great amount of space. They are very big and treat the rest of the world as such.
You might have mentioned that description, but that was a lot to take in. Is the floor an issue for us?
It's still marsh. I mean, for anyone else but you, ClickClack, it would be difficult terrain.
Unless they're near me.
Right. Anyone within 10 feet.
I radiate not caring about terrain. Okay. Just to get a size comparison, how big is a giant head?
So regular head, so medium to large doubles in size, large to huge doubles again in size.
So like
So
the head itself is a 5x5 square?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
It's boulder size.
Okay.
boulders can be 3x3.
Yeah, well, so there's hill giants and there's cloud giants.
Mhm. Okay. Stan, are you doing something fancy?
I was just reviewing my spells to see about that.
Can I do anything about this?
Well, one thing is, you guys are at the very tail end of your fly spells. So where do you intend to land?
Can I get to this giant over here?
You could.
Like within the span of my fly spell?
Your fly spell will let you pick your point of engagement on the battle map. You get to land where you want to land.
Okay. Stan? Go ahead.
Is it me that's flying, or is it my steed that I'm on that's flying?
I believe it was the elk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was Lovelace for me, not myself.
Okay. Yep, I will come that direction with you as well, and we'll start killing some giants.
Okay. Can I also have you both make me a perception check as you're making your sweep in?
$31.
Wow.
I get advantage on these.
18.
Okay. So from a ways behind you, just at the edge of the fog, you hear the sound of knives piercing flesh through metal, and Trella Goodmane, clearly your friend Trella, letting out a "Hoodah!
Oh, crap.
And you, ClickClack, with your absurd number, hear the impact on the ground of a heavy metal form.
On the flight path, I just say into the headset, Trella's down.
Where was she?
She was flying behind you. Carrying a darkling.
Oh, that's right. Is there any way to go back and... I know that's the tail end of our spell. Like, go back and grab her?
You would have to make an investigation check to attempt to find where she is. And if you went back for her, I mean, you would find her, but it would cost you your choice of position on the battle. Rather than being able to choose your point of engagement, now you engage there.
Yeah.
You do stand.
Yeah, I'll go back.
Okay. ClickClack.
Turn this reindeer around.
If you were nearby enough to hear the conversation, the entire way in, I'm arguing with Lovelace. She's like we have a telepathic link, but we're still just yelling at each other. And she's trying to convince me of something, but the only part that's, intelligible is my side of just like no, after that, no.
It's like your mom's on the phone yelling at someone in another room.
Yeah. And as we're flying in, the crab is maracaying at me angrily. And I finally give in because she has an idea and yeah, okay, we're doing this. Do I have time to cast something?
I would say yes.
I cast Jump on her, and this top giant, we're landing on his head.
This one?
The top corner.
Okay.
The most northeastern giant. We're landing on his head.
All right.
And she's ready to jump for when he tries to swing at us. And until then, I'm using it as a turret tower.
Okay. We will as you're lining up that flight, Stan. What's your investigation?
Yeah, this is going to be great. I can already tell with my +0. A natural 1.
We're off to a great start.
So, Stan, when the flight spell ends, you are right around here, at all the way zoomed out, full bottom left of the map, and you have not found Trellicoud. You do hear giants somewhere around you.
Over here?
Yep, exactly there.
Okay.
So you are far from the sound of fighting, and in fact can't even see it through the fog. You have a general sense of which direction it is. There are definitely giants between you and there, and you can also hear more incoming from off the map, from towards the rise of the terraces.
Well.
Perfect. So Stan makes his landing and gets his bearings. ClickClack. Let's have Lovelace make an acrobatics check.
Gee, why? Acrobat? It's not bad.
Because if it goes one way, you're lining up a beautiful pinpoint landing. If it goes the other way, you're teeing up a softball.
Natural 20.
That's a beautiful pinpoint landing. Doesn't even see you coming. Just all of a sudden, head full of crap.
Like buffet night at Red Lobster.
And you did so well, I'm going to make him make a perception check.
$19.
Oh, I was going to have him make a perception check.
Oh,
the giant.
gotcha.
What is Lovelace's stealth?
She's a giant silver crab covered in metal with a weird-looking gnome on her. Not great. But she's dexterous, so a 7. Like her bonus or like a check?
I was going to go with her.
She has 7
passive.
points in stealth. What?
Yeah, I was going to go with passive stealth, which works on the same way as passive insight, passive perception.
So 17.
I think it starts at 8, so it'll be 15. But either way, it's above what he rolled. So with your natural 20, she's just like.
I would just like to point out that she's stealthier than Struana.
Well, ranger training.
And Stan, if we're just listing off people that.
Like.
Yeah, but Stan is also like shiny.
So is Lovelace.
Yeah, I know.
That's why she dunked in the mud when we were hiding in the bog, because otherwise she's, a Chevrolet.
There's that. So as they are all making their landings and coming in hot, we're back to Struana. If you guys could go ahead and roll initiative and have those ready when we come back to you.
So we got his begats for the present situation.
Yes. So that brings us to this moment where I have engineered an attack in order to provoke a war that will take me out of my bounds and into service of a lost king who issues no commands. It's as close to freedom as I get.
Did you say the lost king?
Yes, the forgotten king, by his proper title, Suladan. Let me double check that name. Sudaran.
I can respect freedom being the thing you want most. I feel like I owe you one, I think, in one part, for your assistance with Boronor, because, we didn't die, and that was pretty nice.
Glad you recognized that.
And we need to get back to our plane, and we need to do it close to the same time that we left. And I don't know how to do that. But you're the next chapter.
Oh, I'm not sure that I am. I don't know anything more about your master than you do. Though once I likely had some sort of personal relationship with it. See, the Dark Crow was forgotten by the Feywild itself. Likely, it forgot its own existence, and that it has anything left. It's new and fascinating information.
But it brought us here.
That's true. I have no way to reconcile those two true things. Technically, you should not exist in the way you do.
How do you mean?
Crow has none of the powers of an archfey. Stripped of title, existence, we, its children, left adrift, unable to hold sway in the Feywild. For it to be able to grant power to a mortal through a pact, traditional way, it beggars belief. and that it would have even a fraction of such power, and yet leave its begotten children in such a state? That would test my faith.
What happens if I open the door?
Probably nothing. Door is just a symbol. It's a thing you need to obsess over in order for the quest to complete. It's the way mortal minds work. It's how we use you. He offers you a glass of wine.
I'm gonna take it and, like, back of my head, just like, hope this isn't poisoned. But whatever. Here we are, doing the thing.
Right, poisoned, drugged. It might be Thursday.
Like, there's that. I have no choices here.
It's pleasant. You don't choke. You don't have to make any saves. Yet. But
I mean, I want to try and figure out as much about the Crow and Feywild as I can. Like, I'm looking for the next story hook. I'm looking for the beginning of the next chapter, because this is this chapter. You know, what's the beginning of the next chapter? How do we get there? And honestly, Thomas, I'm not bright enough necessarily to catch it myself right now.
that's fine.
Sorry. I put a cough drop in my whiskey.
Well, Unveleh, as you're starting to look a little more confused, like you take a sip of the wine and just says, none of this really matters because you have to leave. Well, it's probably already too late. I don't know what will happen to you, but I do hope you survive.
I mean, I'm a fan of surviving as well, so.
So, back to the battlefield. Stan, how do you do on initiative?
Eight.
I got a 22. Oh, and I always forget to roll for Lovelace. Hang on. Lovelace got a 10.
Okay. ClickClack. Perched atop everything.
I'm king up here.
You go first.
Yeah.
All around you, Fomorians and trees are violently engaged. The one you're standing on hasn't noticed you, but is busy giving the tree in front of it the evil eye while it tries to beat more or less effectively with its club.
I'm actually gonna shoot this guy.
Okay.
Because I don't want to be obvious. But yeah, shooting that guy.
All right.
And
that's this one here.
the fourth one down in a straight line.
All right.
Assuming if I can see him, I have a clear shot.
Yeah, I was going to say it's about the farthest out you're going to get without disadvantage from the fog.
That's why I picked it.
Yeah.
And sharpshooter, because always sharpshooter.
Right. So,
which
over the line of surging, twisted heads, you pick the one farthest out.
Yeah. I don't want to kill my ride. That wasn't good.
Nope.
$10 and 14.
So the first one just goes and is kind of just like, doink, right off of just like a particularly thick patch of skin on the shoulder. The other one hits just above that and sticks.
Right. Wait,
I will say that this one is surprised. This one is surprised.
he also hasn't acted yet.
Yes. Well, I mean, I did.
Okay.
It's been acting, but not knowing that you're in combat.
Right.
So I would say that's advantage. So that's going to be your first shot, and it does hit.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. I'm not going to argue that.
Add advantage on that shot. And then your second shot is also a hit.
Okay. Every week I forget my damage rolls.
It's a complicated formula for you.
Yeah.
Most people, it's 1 dice plus number. No, not
well,
so.
I also, I DM another game and I play another game in between these, so it's, and I'm bad at numbers anyway. 29 damage on the first one. And the second one doesn't get the sneak, right? That's only 1 per turn.
Percent.
Yeah. 29 again.
All right, so two significant shots in the side of the neck. I mean, it's kind of like you're poking an acupuncture pin into somebody really hard. I mean, it's a very small thing, but you're hitting very vital points, and so it seems to be doing. There's a lot of bleeding happening. Yeah, gnome-sized arrows, felling giants. Bonus actions, move actions.
No.
Okay. Another treant bails for the circle, and you see it like it's kind of limping. It's badly wounded. You see it's lost one whole side of limbs, and it just like hurls its way and sort of like leaps in through as much as these are all giant mangrove style trees, by the way, like twisted bottom, just sort of like leaping into this area, and as soon as it does, once again, just immediately goes hyperspeed. You can see it over the course of the next few seconds, like getting treatment from the one at the middle and regrowing limbs, and you see it just like taking some time and resting, essentially.
Gotcha.
The battle continues for most of them without much advance. A few giants do fall to the onslaught.
That's always good.
But they have a tendency to give as good as they get.
Yeah.
So you can see that the clubs are not very effective as they're just going to town on the trees. Is not working very well, but that evil eye thing that you all got hit with not so long ago, that racking pain, that seems to just devastate the animated trees.
Okay.
Lovelace.
Lovelace's entire turn is devoted to staying on ahead and readying a jump action in case he swings at himself.
Okay.
That's until further notice. That's what she's doing.
All right. Yeah, I mean, so funny thing, I put that tree in the center in the initiative, but it's not really, because it's working on a whole different scale of time.
Right.
Meanwhile, the camera backs way out through the fog, through a band or two of giants, and reaches Stan out isolated on the battlefield.
All alone. Always a good idea to split the party.
Yeah, it's like first recommendation, right?
Mm-hmm. It's the first thing they teach you when you start playing the game.
So it's my turn, you say? So I am going to bless myself and my elk. And if Trella, it says I can do up to 3 targets. And so if Trella is nearby and within 30 feet, I know that I can't see them, but I don't know if it could work on them. But I will at least try.
Right. You will include them in the casting just in case.
And Moradin, please include Trella. I think she's nearby, maybe within 30 feet. Okay. So.
And
so that is what I do.
Eddie and the dog.
Right. So bless, and then that is 1 action. And then I will call out loudly to Drella! A little bit like Stella, but not.
Movement actions, any bonus action, anything like that?
Oh yeah, bonus action.
There is no response in the fog.
No. Most of my good bonus actions also require concentration, so no.
Okay.
And no movement. Can the elk, I would like the elk to go on my turn. Can the elk make an investigation roll for trying to find Trella?
Yeah. I'd let that fly. Try and sniff her out.
I don't think it's proficient. It has only perception. Perception.
Not really. Not in this instance.
Then I will just roll a flat 20. A nat 20. Stan doesn't have any orientation. The elk knows what's up.
So it kind of like flips its ear in one direction, and you see it like test the air with its nostrils, and it's ready to go off, basically due west, east. Sorry, due east.
All right, so it has a movement of 60 feet. Lawrence, as I recall naming it, and
the investigation will take an action, so it can't do a double move this turn, but it can. It does have the set.
These are 5-foot squares?
Yes. The trees do their best to cover the breaches and bravely avail themselves. They're definitely giving as good as they're taking. Most of them are fighting fairly defensively, pretty intelligently for trees. I mean, the treants are commanding them, and they're clearly the brains of the operation. But they're working it. There is a breach in the line. Also, Stan, can I get you to make me a perception test?
Yes. 7. I'm in the under 10 club tonight.
Killing it, Stan. You're killing it. Somewhere out in the fog on both sides of you, there are giants. You can't see them through the fog. You can't really tell where they are, but they're definitely out there. The ground is rumbling. You can see the standing pools in the marsh are all vibrating wildly with the impacts on the ground.
Perfect.
ClickClack.
I'm gonna shoot that guy again.
Okay. Continue just drilling that one.
Yeah. Prepare for that to be a theme tonight. Is he engaged with anyone?
Yeah. He's engaged with the trees.
Natural 20, 27.
Nice.
You're continuing just that tight cluster grouping right around the neck, and it's starting to just like, you know, when you use a pin cushion too much.
So that first shot is 70 damage.
Whoa! And it falls down. Like the tree.
Can I make a meal out of that 20 narratively?
Yes. How do you want that to go down?
Seeing where one of the arrows from the last turn hit, from biology, I know that if I can go a bit deeper, I'm going to hit something vital. So I pull out one of my blunt-ended arrows that I used to knock people out and without killing them, and use it to just hammer that previous arrow deeper and sever something vital, so he bleeds out.
You do. It seems to have also included some sort of nerve cluster, because it just drops like you cut the string above his head. Just the tree in front of him looks perplexed a little, like if a tree with recently animated features could seem confused by what just happened.
It probably looked like
a lot of emotional range.
It looked like a ghost gave him the Vulcan nerve pinch and he just dropped.
Yeah, pretty much. You see it look a little more closely at the little cluster of pins in the little tight round portion of the neck.
Mm-hmm. And the obsessively uniform arrow flocking at the end.
Probably doesn't get that good a look, nor is it that good a Fletcher. So, right, you have to be a craftsman to appreciate craft. Right. Any bonus actions? Any other?
Well, that was one of two attacks.
Yeah.
So how about this third guy from the top?
Okay.
$25 to hit.
That is a hit.
Hang on.
They're not that hard a target.
26 damage.
So as it's raising up for a downward shot, you just catch it right in that unribbed spot in the armpit, and it goes all the way in, and it's definitely bouncing around in there.
As it should.
Right. It can't possibly be doing anything good. At that point, what was your original stealth check? For what
it was 8 plus 7, 15.
Okay. Well, the one that you're on turns its head to look at its compatriots just like reeling from the side and taking damage from somewhere. And it looks over the other side like, where could that be coming from?
Mm-hmm.
But doesn't seem to notice the difference in weight on his head.
We're centered.
I imagine Lovelace is just like... So she's just keeping the facing.
She's a crab that bonded with an engineer. She knows exactly where the center is.
Well, it's not exactly a skillfully designed structure. With its newfound kind of freedom to act, with some pressure off of it, the treant that was fighting those two kind of goes farther off into the mists and goes to engage targets farther out. And it seems to have the hoped for effect. You hear the sounds of giants roaring and bones breaking.
Wow. Just the image of 3 of them disappearing was very illustrative.
Yeah, well, it was only one. I accidentally pasted the other 2 on. It sounds like other areas of the battle are going less well. I mean, it's difficult to see. There's a lot of chaos from here to there, plus a swirling dome. You're beginning to be able to spot, like, the colors swirling in there are shimmerlings. And you see now that, like, in the fresh trees, there are shimmerlings. You can see on the ground, littered down at their feet, just like they've been scattering glitter in front of them, are dead shimmerlings, just swarms of them. Giants don't manage much of a push this round. As a whole, your end, while it was beginning to buckle, seems confused about this new element. The rest of them, continue just that sort of give and take, push pull that they've had. Stan, on the other hand,
I'm in Stan land.
From out of the mist, you see that you have been paced by giant feet, and they close in around, and 2 giant clubs attempt to do you in. Neither to any useful effect. You do need to make 1 charisma save for me.
5. Oh, you know what? I get to add a D4 to that anyway. Which is, I rolled a 1 on, so 6.
Oh.
Yeah,
I agree.
So you feel just a weight of painful madness pierce into your skull for 29 points of psychic damage.
That just seems unnecessary.
You hurt me in my childhood.
Oh, God, right in my self-confidence. Lovelace.
Until further notice.
Okay.
She is her movement is devoted to keeping in the blind spot and keeping on top, and she is constantly holding a jump action in case she needs to.
All right. Stan, what do you do?
I'm gonna roll another. Oh man, I wanted to roll investigation, but now I have things attacking me. I don't like this at all.
You need to teach him a lesson for looking at you like that.
Right? Do I know which one cast that spell that required me to make a charisma save?
No, but you've seen every giant you've run in, every Fomorian you've run into, you've seen pull that trick. It's an evil eye from one or more of its weirdly placed eyes.
Need more bonus actions. I'm going to move this direction, or have the elk move that direction, and attack.
All right.
Swing my hammer, go for the kneecaps.
That does provoke an attack of opportunity from one of the giants, but you hear more than feel the club go wide over you. Feel a little movement of air, but no pain. Butthard.
15 hit. I get a D4 as well, which is, again, roll of 1, 16.
That's a hit.
Yay. Uh, 10 damage.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, that was without my bonus, right? Yeah. 10 plus, so 18 total.
Okay.
So that is my first attack, and then I'm going to swing for his other kneecap and get a natural 20.
Oh.
So I roll double damage?
Roll your dice and double that result, and then add your bonus.
Ah, that's right.
Right? It's only double dice, not double.
I also rolled max damage. So, 40.
The first one was a tap on the shin. The second one, like like the knee moves in a way that you know is not healthy, and I won't describe.
No, why knees?
Has ever watched a knee move? Made them do all those faces.
Mine
have
have done that several times in my life.
Yeah,
I have arthritis from having done that so many times. Good Lord.
You have inflicted a knee injury.
You're very upset.
Right, you hear the giant behind him go, "Oh God! Oh, Bill!
When your friends like low-key freak out at you and you're like, "No, I'm fine. I've done this."
Yeah.
Right. If you spoke
I've watched
giant
David
here,
do that.
that's a career ender.
I was like, I'm just in shock. I'll be fine. Hang on.
Yep.
Any bonus actions? Anything else? Attacks from your elk. I know charge.
Oh.
Like
Yeah, the elk will attack as well.
I don't know if you've ever seen elks fight, but
it's
They'll
usually
do
quick.
Yeah, man.
You ever see that video of a moose versus a bear? It's like you know, I forget which is bigger, brown bear or black bear, but it's this giant bear trying to pick a fight with a moose, and the moose is just standing there staring at him, and then the bear, and he's like, the bear's doing full like bear performance of like, don't fuck with me. He gets too close, and the moose just thud, like one strike, dead bear.
Ah.
And the moose walks away.
I mean, yeah.
Never seen it happen to a bear, but I have seen it happen to an SUV.
Clop.
And then it doesn't go anywhere ever again. Yeah.
There are elks, you know the elks north near Fern Canyon. Every time I go to Fern Canyon, there's some group of tourists trying to get really, really close to them. Oh. And they're clearly like, oh, hey, and then an elk will be like, oh, you want to go? And you watch all of them scatter. We're just sitting back like, I mean...
The elk equivalent of...
I have a little bit of like, I don't really want to watch someone die today, but if I have to watch someone die today, at least it's because you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Right. If you have to watch someone die, they might as well be stupid.
Right. Does 15 hit, by the way?
15 does hit.
All right. This Lawrence attacks with his hooves.
Good choice.
That's 48. $24 damage.
Yeah, that knee is never going to be the same.
Stop talking about it.
Moving right along. So it's going to be a lot of knee and ankle stuff with giants. Sorry ahead of time.
That's why I'm on the head.
When these giants finish off what's left of the defenders out there and war is declared, this entire area is going to go through some sort of change. I don't exactly know what happens. I've seen it happen once. I don't remember anything about it. I simply ended up in another place, free of my bonds. I have no idea what would happen to something that's not native to the place. The rules in this area are about to be rewritten according to laws placed by something that hasn't existed in eons.
And while that is both exhilarating and terrifying, there's nothing I can do about it because I find it unlikely that I can get my compatriots to not join the battle.
That's true. Well, there's a good chance they're going to die then. I mean, they are fighting against overwhelming odds, and I know that that is sort of your thing.
Inadvertently. I don't know what I'm supposed to do next, and that concerns me. Normally there's a next.
Always so sure of yourself, scripting the narrative ahead of time, imagining that gives you some sort of control over your life. Perhaps it's time to relinquish that illusion of control. Perhaps if there's anything the Crow is trying to teach you, that there's no story. Story is something people like you place on events after the fact so that they can make some sort of sense out of things that were terrible.
And wonderful.
Either way, when I take a life in the dark that no one knows about, there's a story placed on why they must have died and how it must have happened. It doesn't have anything to do with what I did.
Maybe you're finally being the protagonist of your own story then.
Perhaps. This is not the first time I've manipulated this deal. My former association with the old king. But I have to do that because I don't have the backing of an Archfey patron. I cannot bind another fairy in an oath to me. I can only remain bound to them. I cannot hold title. I can only serve.
What can I do to help you?
Absolutely nothing. Kill the trees instead of the giants. That would hasten it, but also your doom.
How can I get my compatriots back in time so that they can save their home? What can I do here that affects that outcome?
To your moment of history? I can tell you what I know of the Crow for as long as your compatriots can hold the line. I'll tell you stories all the way until I'm free.
I would be grateful to hear them.
I appreciate bold facing of doom in search of knowledge. I respect that. No one much knows anything about my progenitor. all Archfey have a core purpose, cause, thing that they embody, some portion of a season or falling leaf, some ideal linked to a human dream. I know only what I can infer from the existence of darklings. You see a phase spawn comes naturally from its essence. That essential piece of it determines what I am. And so I know that this Fae must have been secretive. However, the core of its essence, I suspect that has been completely lost. You see, the crow didn't die, did not return to the Feywild. Its essence and bonds were not passed in the usual ways. It stopped being. It was forgotten even by the Feywild. Even its oaths. I don't know if you understand truly what that means to an Archfey. For the Feywild to forget your oaths. It means you have ceased to be.
I have a grasp merely because I have a grasp of stories.
Hmm. And so, I would imagine that any scrap of knowledge obtained and made known would do something to stir up a memory. I've never heard of such a thing being done, but then again, no other Fae has suffered the fate of the Dwap Quathla.
If no other Fae has ever suffered that fate, then there's also no way to know what that looks like long term. We don't have the data. Mostly mumbled to myself, just like that.
Any scrap of history, any hint or rumor of something true, uncovered by someone like you, may increase the crow's profile, its ability to affect, give it some of its old self back, memory, perhaps of what it something itself has lost.
So there's a mutuality. Me having engaged with it also, there's a reverse geometric progression that just happened inside of my head and it hurt. Because of the damn island.
And this door. It's clearly a symbol for something. I've never heard anything about it.
I mean, I wonder that it's actually a door. That would be interesting enough, but it's
When is a door not a door?
when it's a writing desk.
Or when it's a jar.
Yep, mine was weirder, sorry.
Well, mine was relevant. Perhaps the door itself is the trap. Perhaps it is a jar. But I don't know. My kind likes puns, but I can't base an entire theory on it. But the problem remains that that door is on the material plane.
I'm here.
And to open it, you need to be there. But to get there, you have to have already accepted your city's loss, submitted to the time flow of the Feywild. I see a dilemma. So what you're looking for is something on this side of the veil that could spark one of these memories.
If I add a memory to a memory, you get more than you began with.
Anything is exponentially greater than nothing.
I had thought that you might hold such memories, but...
No. We have been forsaken by the crow for ages immemorial. There are libraries, there are wells of knowledge, there are ancient creatures with long memories. Perhaps you could hunt one of those down.
What? But we have to also get ourselves back. And we have to get ourselves back early. Because if, frankly speaking, if we don't, then I no longer have compatriots.
It's hard losing things.
Less losing, I mean, yes, and I enjoy their company and I think they're good companions, but also none of these tasks are done alone.
Maybe you're being asked to sacrifice for something greater.
If you sacrifice another person, you're not the one sacrificing.
Speaking to an assassin. I've sacrificed many lives for causes not my own.
You've killed for causes not your own, which is not the same as sacrificing. It has to be important to you. It has to be something you own to sacrifice it. You can't sacrifice another person's life. I mean, the word work is the same, but the intention is different.
You can sacrifice what they meant to you. Their feelings, connection, their trust. He points to the pile of tokens. Do you think I had anything genuine with her?
No, but I think that is so entertaining.
Her feelings or just something else to be hurt? Of course, of my duty. And it looks like they still are. look at it this way. You're mortal. At least you get to die.
I don't want to compare our ills. I want to do what I'm asked, and I want to help save the city.
I would be surprised if those two things were compatible.
Thus far, we have done an awful lot we've set out to do, even if a pretty good chunk of it was haphazard. Libraries and wells of knowledge.
Would be where I would start. There are seekers of such things.
And to leave this area sooner rather than later, so that you can get as close to freedom and we can not be here when it rewrites itself.
Oh, I will be. That's
No, not we. Me and those chunk.
Yes, assuming they survive. Now again, I don't know if you have some amazingly quick method of getting in and out, or some manner of teleportation in a place so unfamiliar as the Feywild, but it's really already too late. Another glass of wine. And then we will flash over back to the battle.
I'm gonna probably chunk and go to sleep, but I do want to step away from him and like pensively look out the window and also tell them the very brief version of that, just like this area is going to be rewritten and we are going to have to leave this battle without winning it. You should make your peace with that now if you want to live. Heads up. Kill as many as you can, then we're going to have to run away.
This session, Kobayashi Maru.
I'm a hack it. I need an apple, apparently. I have an apple. I could go eat an apple if I wanted to. I don't want to eat anything.
Top of the round in initiative is ClickClack.
I'm gonna shoot that third guy again.
Okay.
Because he's not dead yet, and I hate that about him.
Totally is worth the quality.
Mm-hmm. But I help people improve themselves.
21 is definitely a hit.
Okay. I'm guessing he's in combat, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
They are all stuck up with trees.
Should I do damage first or second attack first?
Damage first.
Okay. That was a terrible damage roll, so I only do 27.
Oh no!
She messes with the layout, doesn't she?
Yep. Well, as that one starts to fall sideways from the peppering of arrows in its side, we are going to take a quick break while I reset some cropping and get some things working, and just generally maintain our high level of production quality. Sorry, couldn't get through it with a straight face. But my name is Thomas. I am here with Allison, David, and formerly Diamond. And if you like what you see, hit like. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. And if you want it to get better, I don't think our Patreon will cover, Diamond's health insurance. But for all of these other technical issues, there's a Patreon right over there. Meanwhile, have a good game.